Hey guys, welcome back to a new podcast. Today I'm going to be talking about the new Xbox showcase that's coming on the 23rd of July. That got announced yesterday, and not too long of a wait, just a few weeks, and then we can see all the new first-party titles Xbox will be having. So today I just wanted to go through some of the games really that I'm expecting will be there, some that I'm thinking they might be there, they might not, and then just a couple of hopeful games really. So I thought I was going to start off with the obvious one, and that is Halo Infinite. So Halo Infinite was announced a couple of years ago now, and we've not really had that much details or no gameplay really either. So now, as it's going to be a launch title, it's like the perfect time to see any gameplay. So I remember the first time actually seeing Halo Infinite, and they sort of showed a trailer off as like it looked like a battle royale, because obviously battle royales are sort of like blowing up back then. So I thought, okay, this is going to be like the Halo campaign with like this multiplayer and the Battle Royale, but it's not really developed into anything as of yet. So I'm not sure if they're going to be going away from that idea, or maybe they'll include it. I think that'd be quite cool, because obviously Halo is quite big multiplayer maps, so obviously they can have them big player bases in their maps, and I don't think it'd be 100 players, to be honest. I think it'd be around the 60 mark. You probably drop. I can imagine you dropping in with a pistol, and then final your better guns. Obviously, rarity would be involved. You could have like a legendary weapon, rare weapons and stuff. And I think it'd be quite a cool idea. Obviously, the game like Halo 5, you'll be able to customize your Guardian, or not your Guardian, your Spartan, and you'd obviously just make your guy look really cool. I can imagine there being microtransactions and well in that, but and loot boxes, I remember those or like packs in Halo 5. But yeah, I think that'd be quite a cool idea. I could definitely see it being popular since it's Halo, it's a massive franchise. And yeah, I'd like to see their take on it really. And then of course we have the campaign. So the campaign is normally pretty good in Halo. Obviously Master Chief will be back. We've seen a trailer, sort of, a bit of a teaser trailer really, where he's up in his spaceship and that, and yeah, there wasn't a massive lot to go on again, so hopefully we'll get a good look at that. You know, about a 20-30 minute look at Halo Infinite maybe would be quite good, since it's going to be like it's the biggest IP Xbox have, and it's going to be like the main reason to attract you to go buy the new Xbox, to be able to play Halo on day one. So they'd want to show like a good lengthy video or gameplay, maybe a talk with the devs, just to try to convince you on why this year you should buy an Xbox instead of a PlayStation. Obviously it'll be on Xbox One as well, I think, because I think they want to do that rather than move all the player base over to the next generation. They want to include everyone in the whole family of Xbox. So I mean, it'll obviously have next gen features if you want to do that, but obviously it will be on the original Xbox One, Xbox Series, Xbox One X. Confusing with all the names. But yeah, interesting to see what they've got. So next on our list we have Forza. So last year we didn't have a Forza. They took a year out, which I think is great for every franchise really. Get that year off, create some new mechanics, deliver like a much more improved and like new experience. Because obviously you got the Forza Motorsports, they're like your typical track racing games. Personally, not a massive fan now, because we're up to Forza 7 or potential Forza 8, and I sort of feel like they increased new features to obviously make more realistic and stuff. But I feel like they've sort of gone everywhere they can with like a track racing game. And there's obviously Forza's got a massive player base, and I just think a track racing game for the whole year on new next gen console, probably I wouldn't really. It's the way I could see them going, but it's not the way I'd want them to go. Because I think if you have a Forza Horizon, it just brings in a whole new player base really. It definitely brings in a younger player base, that's for sure. And just the whole exploring with your friends around the open worlds and stuff, which is great. And like obviously the new gen, you probably be able to create a bigger world, more things in it and stuff. And I think that'd be really cool. So yeah, obviously Forza Horizon 4 was the last game they released, Forza. They there's obviously been no leaks, which is, I find, quite strange. You'd expect there to be a Forza this year, especially to launch it alongside the console. Obviously, you got Turn 10 that make the motorsport game, and then you got Playground who make Horizon. But it's also been rumoured that Playground are making a Fable game. So obviously Lionhead went bust a good few years ago now. Apologies for the cut, a random dog just approached me, so I had to find its owner. So yeah, what was I saying? So Playground Games obviously rumoured to making a Fable game with Lionhead going bust. That's a good few years ago now. And they did have a Fable game in the works, but that got cancelled about 2016, 2017. So we've not really had a proper Fable game on Xbox One. We had, obviously, Xbox 360 was obviously big for Fable. Be interesting to see how Playground developed the game, really, since we're used to them making racing games. And also, we've seen with other studios, they obviously we had Killzone on PlayStation, and they went and made Horizon. And it was just, it worked, but it's not always a thing you'd associate a studio doing, making a big change like that, especially with Forza Horizon being such a big game. Maybe Turn 10 will take over the Horizon games. Maybe we won't have Forza every single year, which I don't think is a bad thing. Make a Forza Horizon that will last 2 years, then a motorsport game. But yeah, we have to wait and see, really. I look forward to Forza either way, because I always think it is one of the best racing games. They always have the best tech involved, loads of cars. And yeah, I look forward to seeing what Xbox can deliver with that. So next on our list, we have new Gears of War. So this one was a bit more of a question mark, since we had Gears 5 in 2019. I don't think we'll get a Gears of War this year. The teaser possibly, obviously 2019, so I'd expect 2022, 2023, roughly the earliest. I think 2-year gap would be too short, especially with the coronavirus happening. I don't think it would be, I think it'd be more a delayed thing now if it was going to come out like next year. I definitely think it will be 2022 onwards. Obviously, Unreal Engine 5 is out next year. So Gears of War obviously runs on an Unreal Engine, so it'll be interesting to see if they actually hold off and put on the Unreal Engine 5, which we obviously saw a tech demo of the other month. I think that's something they'd want to do. Obviously, it takes years to make these games. Why not wait that extra year to build on this brand new engine? Obviously, you'll be able to increase so many new different features into the game with the lighting, just the whole vast open world areas you can just see from like beyond my vision. And yeah, I definitely think that's something they'd want us to do. Gears Tactics, maybe we'd get another one of those. We obviously had that this year. I didn't play it personally, so I'm not sure how much of a game it was, if they'd make another one. I obviously heard good reviews. It's quite a tough experience to play. Harder than XCOM actually, so that was interesting. But yeah, you never know really. Obviously Halo Wars 2 they had, so maybe you'll get Gears Tactics 2 at some point. And then the only thing I can think of is they'll do sort of a spin-off, so it won't be Gears 6, the next one. Obviously we had Gears of War Judgment, so I could imagine them doing like a spin-off. I see a lot of companies want to do a spin-off when they move to the next console. So if you're doing like say if you're on PlayStation 1 year, then you move to Xbox the next year, you might not necessarily play that franchise. So having that sort of like the middle grounds, you have this game that's not part of the whole story to bring you into the story, and then it's a bit like a prologue, but it's a main game, and then using that prologue as sort of like the start of a new story within like the Gears franchise. So I think that's something they might do. Like a Halo actually, Halo Infinite, it's not Halo 6. So yeah, I definitely see that's something they'll do, and yeah, hopefully we'll see that in a couple of years' time. So next we have Everwild. So Everwild is actually a game from Rare. That is a company that makes Sea of Thieves. So again, this is a game we've seen last year, but we actually haven't had any features of it or any gameplay in-depth looks for a year. Again, I don't think this will be a game that comes out this year, just because we've literally seen nothing or heard anything of it. Sea of Thieves took a good few years before it actually came out. It came across as like a open world experience, but more on land. So you could say Sea of Thieves, but on land, and yeah, it looked beautiful. Sea of Thieves was a huge success, so I can actually see that getting a decent port over to the Series X. So I can see that having enhancements. It obviously gets regular DLCs every so often, events just to bring players back, crossovers as well. Has quite a lot of good content, and obviously they've expanded the game so much since the launch. There's so many different things you can do now, and I definitely think they'd want to carry that onto the next gen with a free upgrade. And yeah, it'd be interesting to see what they can add to that game. Hopefully they can make it bigger, maybe bigger islands. Bigger islands would be pretty cool. And yeah, just something, maybe add a couple of different modes or something, really, just to bring like players who've not tried it yet. Maybe try to convince them to come over and play. It could even just be a free-to-play game, maybe. That'd be interesting. So yeah, we have to wait to see what they do on that. I hope they carry Sea of Thieves on, because I think it's such a great game, a unique experience, and yeah, we'll have to see and wait. So next we have Cuphead, the Delicious Last Course. So this is an interesting one, really, because it's actually, when I was reading up on it, it's actually a DLC for Cuphead, but Cuphead came out 3 years ago now, so having to release a DLC 3 years later for a game that's not massively that long is quite strange. So I'm not sure if it's planned for this year, but I'm not sure if it's going to be like a standalone game. So instead of like a DLC for Cuphead, I think it'll come out as a standalone version, and maybe like a 6-hour campaign or something. And I definitely think that'll be something that they want to launch up with the Xbox Series X, roughly the same sort of window. Obviously, it'll come to all platforms. It'll probably come to Switch as well, but I don't think it'll come to Switch at launch. Obviously, they had the original Cuphead on Switch. But yeah, we've not really seen anything of that. I can imagine it being more of Cuphead, really. Maybe a couple of new different features involved. I'm not sure what they would bring. I don't know what the Series X would bring to Cuphead, because obviously it's got that. Not sure what the animation's cool, but obviously it looks all drawn and that. Like a retro look to it. It's really cool. Definitely check it out. It's quite a tough game, so it might be up your alley. But yeah, we'd have to. I don't really know much about this DLC. Yes, I think that'll be. It's not really like a console seller. It's sort of just like to Xbox fans, really. Here's like another. Is it an indie game? Is it like more of an arcade game? I'd say it's more of an arcade game. So I definitely think that'd be something like you buy your Series X on day one, and then you obviously go on the Xbox store and you go, oh look, there's Cuphead, and you can go play Cuphead. So I don't think it wouldn't be a full release game, maybe like the 20, 30 pound mark. And yeah, it'd be cool just to see another Cuphead game. Just another person walked past. It's quite busy out here today. It's normally quite quiet when we're out here, but oh well, there you go. So next we have Senua's Sacrifice 2 by Ninja Theory. So this is the game we got. Obviously, it's the follow-on from Senua's Sacrifice. That was on all platforms. This was a game that was announced way back at the Game Awards. I think it was actually one of the first Series X games we got to see. It's obviously a carry-on from the first game that was very highly acclaimed. Again, it's I can see it being a launch title just because it was one of the first games they showed off. With Forza and Halo and Senua's Sacrifice as sort of their big free launch titles, it's pretty pretty good lineup for Xbox this year. They've definitely learned from their mistakes on Xbox One. They've doubled down on all their exclusives, and it's definitely something that is definitely going to challenge Sony with their exclusives this year. I think they're actually going to have more exclusives than PlayStation this year, especially like big IP ones. So obviously I've also got written down here State of Decay 3. So State of Decay 2 came out was it last year, I believe. I think it came out quite buggy. I've played it recently, and it's obviously been the Judgment Edition. And I thought it was pretty good. I enjoyed State of Decay 1. State of Decay 2's got more open world areas you get to go explore. Obviously it has the base building and stuff. But I definitely see State of Decay 3 being a lot more enhanced on Series X. Bigger zombie crowds, bigger, more in-depth maps. I know on State of Decay 2 you had all these different maps, but it was like not a whole open world, they were maps. So if I wanted to go to this area, I had to go like I'd teleport pretty much. So it'd be cool if we could have just this big open world that includes all these maps together, so I don't have to do this whole teleport here to go do this area and teleport there to go do that area. So I think that's definitely something they'd like to improve on. Visuals, I see the visuals they're sort of going for, so I don't want that pure realistic look, sort of that more arcadey look and feel to it. So obviously with that, with ray tracing and everything, I think it would look really pretty. And yeah, obviously it's not been announced, so I don't really know what to expect from it really. But it's definitely a game that, if it's not announced this year, it'll be announced next year, because I think they'd want to get that game out. That's obviously got a big franchise for Xbox. It's actually very popular as well. So yeah, that's something I can see coming soon. And then obviously we just got new IPs, so these aren't games that are going to be necessarily exclusive to Xbox. They'll have some sort of exclusivity if it's like console launch debut or timed exclusivity. Maybe just a bit of content, DLC really, that's first on Xbox. And the one I want to mention first is actually Suicide Squad from Rocksteady. So Rocksteady are normally the developers behind Batman. Obviously came out in the news recently that they're actually working on this Suicide Squad game, and Batman's gone to, what was it? I think it's like a studio in Montreal or something. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see a Suicide Squad game. I don't know if that would be something that would rival Marvel Avengers, like their sort of live service game, or would it be a typical Rocksteady experience where it's like the single play, story driven, open world, all these different characters and abilities to try. Yeah, I think they're really cool. I like to see the DC again, bigger films, bigger projects, bigger games, because DC's always been behind Marvel, and obviously Marvel's sort of taking a backseat at the moment with like the Avengers and stuff just finished. Obviously got games coming out, but it's cool to see these DC games getting pushed. It's obviously got some great characters, Batman, Superman, so on. So it's really cool to see that they're actually getting like a proper game. And I think it'll be really fun as well, especially because it's Rocksteady and they make great games. I mean, it's not a new IP, but maybe like a new Banjo and Kazooie, because you need that. I think that could be like a launch title, them sort of games, because you need to bring in like a younger audience, because obviously if they want to launch around Christmas, they got a lot of young people, like kids, are going to be expecting to get like a new generation console for Christmas. PlayStation are going to have like Spider-Man. So it'll be interesting what Xbox can bring to the party. So it could be maybe something like that. They obviously have their deal with Nintendo, so Super Smash Bros. And that have been getting like characters that are from Xbox games. Obviously Cuphead's gone onto Switch. So it'll be interesting to see if there's anything like any Switch characters or anything that like get their way onto an Xbox game. But yeah, really, I don't really know any other new IPs they could bring. They've obviously bought a ton of studios. So you got Obsidian. They're obviously making the survival game. I can't think what the name of that's called. Grounded. That's the game. I believe there's like a preview of that in like Xbox Insider app. Check that out. It looks quite cool. It's like a little you've like shrunken and you're like a garden and you have to survive pretty much. It looks quite fun if you're playing with friends. But it'd be interesting to see, because obviously they did Outer Worlds, and that was obviously quite a lot of people like that game a lot, and that's sort of their big first game since departing from like the days where they're like helping with Fallout. So it'll be interesting to see what they're bringing to the table, as they're now an Xbox-owned studio. Maybe a little teaser of something in the future that they're working on would be cool. And yeah, that's pretty much it, really. I'd say we'd probably see something like maybe an in-depth look at like Madden or FIFA. We're still yet to see Call of Duty, but I still think they're part of a PlayStation deal, so I don't think that's going to be Xbox. Maybe some Destiny content, because I know Bungie sort of seem to be, so it's PlayStation exclusive, but they seem to be good friends with Phil Spencer, so maybe they'll have something about that. And I also know they're trying to work alongside Japanese studios more. So we obviously had the last Xbox show there was more Yakuza we got to see. So I could imagine that there's the new Yakuza. We'll get a new trailer, new gameplay look at. But bound to see something to do with Final Fantasy. They're normally having a game out a year, so it'll be interesting to see what they can bring to the table. And yeah, that's pretty much it, really. So obviously tune in on the 23rd of July, which is a Thursday. I believe it kicks off about 5 o'clock if you're in England. Check it out, and I hope they bring some good games to the table to compete with Sony. Obviously, I like PlayStation, that's my preferred console, so it'd be nice to see if Xbox can sort of push Sony more of their exclusives, and just to compete more, because obviously you don't want Xbox to fall so far behind it makes PlayStation too comfortable, where PlayStation don't start getting great games and stuff. So it's good to have that competition, and yeah, I look forward to seeing what they bring.